Hey guys, this is On Productions, aka Nanna 4673, and I am back in Wilder Bahadur Story Part 4. Once again, it has been a little too long since I last played this, and I have forgotten a bit, but I do remember, like, we're in the pirate town, as the music suggests, which isn't actually a pirate town, but I do call it that. And Bahadur is kind of feeling distant from Jeriah, because he feels like he doesn't deserve her and all this stuff, so yeah. And that he has having a hard time to, like, shed himself with his role as a slave. Yeah, so, I'm something like that. And something about them Jeriah getting drunk, but okay. I suppose it was naive of me in hindsight to believe that night may have brought us closer together. In reality, I woke to Bahadur, already long awake and practically dragging me out of the door towards the docks. Gone was the vulnerability and the truthfulness of last night. He was back in full professional valet mode. Whatever. And this morning, that disguise seemed unshakable. Bahadur, about last night. My lady, we must hurry, or the ship will leave without us. Any attempt to reach out, neatly deflected. In the end, I gave up and simply followed him through the docks. No soldiers accost us on the way, and none are waiting at the ship. We pay and board with no delay or argument. I don't know if the boy kept his word, or if we are simply incredibly lucky, but Bahadur and I seem to have managed a successful escape. As the ship casts off, we stand on the deck, looking out across the ocean towards Omar. I may not be able to see it yet, but I feel the pull of it regardless. I've never been on a ship before. Isn't it amazing that... Excuse me, my lady, I had best go make sure that your cabin is being prepared to the correct standards. What? But... Bahadur bows and walks away, heading below the deck. I'm left standing alone. Aw, man, the chapter is... This is so unsatisfying. Oh well. It's funny. A few days at sea and it almost feels like I've returned to my own life in Sia. I have my own private room. Bahadur has made sure that everyone knows to treat me with respect, and when he isn't busy helping the crew, he's always at my back. Yet, in some ways, it is much worse than my old life. Back then, no matter how strained, stifling, or painful, he was always able to save me with a secret look, a hidden smile, or an unspoken private joke between just the two of us. Back then, Bahadur felt like my only friend. Now, he is not even that. That last night at the inn, he threw out the word love so easily, but I don't feel anything like that from him now. Today I stand on the deck, looking out into the blue. The water sparkles and shimmers like diamonds, the breeze is cool and fresh, and the quiet is almost meditative. I flop miserably against the side of the ship. My lady, Bahadur, I answer, with enthusiasm to match his own, which is to say, with none. Are you not feeling well? No, not really. It's not exactly a lie. The measured, distant concern in his voice is making me feel rather sick. I'm sorry to hear that, my lady. I shall ask the crew for some medicine and arrange for dinner to be brought to your cabin tonight. And with that, he's off, busying himself with his duty. I feel stupid for hoping, even for a moment, that he might offer me some comfort. Gods, I've never felt so lonely. Sensing a presence at my back, I turn. Oh! It isn't Bahadur. An unfamiliar man stands a little way away, smiling a friendly, hopeful smile. He's an older gentleman, but his face is handsome and youthful, and he dresses well, clearly a man with some wealth and taste. Oh, this is gonna be the guy from last time who was... I do not remember much, but I do know he's not good. G'day, miss. Hope I'm not intruding. Be polite, always polite. No, not at all. Thank goodness. Allow me to introduce myself, Senator Marco Dillon. Please call me Marco. And might I have the pleasure of your name? Jeriah. I'm sorry, did you say Senator? Senator. Aye, from the great city of Greenhaven. Have you ever been? I shake my head. Vaguely an old geography tome rises in my memory, placing Greenhaven somewhere far to the south, but that is as much as I know. Oh, 'tis a beautiful place to be sure. Spires of white, bowers of green, where the vines of wildflowers run through the streets like hundreds of little rivers. Mayhap one day you grace its beauty with your own. Perhaps. Ah, my apologies, I'm blabbering on and on, aren't I? No, not at all. In his way of speaking is a little strange, and he certainly seems to enjoy the sound of his own voice, but he seems like a nice man. And honestly, it's a welcome change to be part of a conversation that isn't fraught with tension. You are too kind, Miss Jeriah. From whence do you hail? Lie. Jara. Truly, forgive me for being so indelicate, but it's unusual to find a lady of your distinction in such a place. Well, Miss Jeriah of Jara, it is a true pleasure to meet you. And you, Senator Dillon. Marco, please. Marco. He smiles, and it takes me a moment to realize that I'm smiling back, and meaning it. Okay. She's just sounding very unenthusiastic about it, but I guess that's not true. This Marco Dillon certainly has an easy charm about him. It makes a good distraction. My lady, I have... Bahadur returns and stumbles only for a moment at seeing my companion before regaining his composure. I have your medicine, some fragrant oils to calm the stomach. Oh no, forgive me, Miss Jeriah. I did not realize you were unveiled. His voice is just going the wrong way. 2 pairs of concerned eyes are too much, and I start to itch under the attention and the guilt. Excuse me, I think I'd better go to my room. Of course, my lady. Of course, Miss Jeriah, you must rest. I manage to terse nod and step away. I turn back to find Senator Marco shuffling rather awkwardly. If you perchance find your constitution mended by dinner time, I would be honored if you would dine with me tonight. Nah, good. I'm not... Before my mistress can entertain your offer, she must first be allowed to recover. Of course, Marco smiles, sweet and sympathetic. Please, miss, feel better. Thank you, Senator Dillon Marco. He bows, unsure of the custom in Greenhaven, give a hurried half-bow, half-courtesy, and rush below the deck. Bahadur follows me to my cabin. He says nothing, but the air feels heavy with the words unsaid. I give him a long, unflinching look. He cracks soon enough. I think dinner with the Senator Dillon is a good idea, my lady. It's been too long since you could spend time in the company of one of your peers. Well, I'll leave you to rest. Bahadur places the medicinal-smelling oils on my table, then heads for the door. At the threshold, he hesitates. He turns his head back to me. You know, I do believe the senator might be a little smitten with you, my lady. What? Bahadur smiles, and it almost feels like the old secret smile we used to share, except this one makes me feel wretched. You have charmed him. I promise you I did nothing to encourage his affections. The words come out in a rush, so desperate I am to... That was not what I was trying to say. He isn't smitten. I think you're reading too deeply into his politeness. I'm not sure whether I'm trying to reassure myself or Bahadur, but Bahadur does not seem to need reassurings. In fact, the prospect of my having an admirer seems to please him. I reach for the oars and take a long, deep sniff. Bahadur bows and takes his leave. By the time the sun has set, any hint of illness or petulance has faded in the face of growing hunger. When the knock on the door comes, I'm ready to forgive Bahadur anything, as long as he brought dinner. Come in. Oh, it is dinner, but it isn't Bahadur. Pardon me, Miss Jeriah. I come bearing delicious refreshments. Marco Dillon passes the doorway, platter in one hand and flowers in the other. Oh, God. I have 100 questions. I start with the most pressing. We're in the middle of the ocean. Where did you find flowers in bloom? Marco merely winks and plays coy. Allow a gentleman his secrets. Excuse me? Fine. Moving on to the second most burning question. Why are you here? I mean, how did you know which cabin was mine? A tip from our mutual friend. Eugene. Bahadur. My face must cloud for Marco soon drops the light-hearted banter and starts wringing his hands. I've been too forward, haven't I? 1,000 apologies, Miss Jeriah, if I've offended. But it was your manservant who sought me out tonight. He said you would be glad of the company. Bahadur and I shall be having words later, but for now I cannot turn my guest away, after all. Food. My eyes drift to the tray in his hands. Of course, Marco, please take a seat. Before he does, he pulls out my chair for me like a true gentleman and places the flowers in the center of the table. Dinner passes pleasantly with the sort of polite, shallow conversation which my formative years in Sia has prepared me so well. Eventually, the topic turns to our destination, and it smells like a good opportunity to prepare what might await after the voyage. Have you ever been to Omar? On official business, yes, many times over the years. I confess, it's a much more enjoyable trip nowadays than it has been in the past. Because of the change in leadership, indeed. Umar used to be terribly stifling, nearly as bad as Sia. Have you ever been to Sia, Miss Jeriah? Dreadful place. It's positively suffocating. You support the changes in Umar. Free trade and free citizens. What isn't to adore? So, the abolishment of slavery. About time, I say. Oh, he startles, remembering to whom he is speaking. Of course, I mean no disrespect. Miss Jeriah, I can see you take good care of your, Bahadur, was it? But I'm a man of Greenhaven, and in Greenhaven we have no gene, wild or otherwise. Slavery has never been our way. I am ever so sorry if I offended you. No! Sort of terrible excitement grips me, and I find myself leaning out of my seat and across the table. The shame that never really leaves, only lies dormant, is alive and screaming inside me. He does seem... Ugh. You should condemn me. My whole life the words stutter and I persist. It hurts to draw them out. It used to be so easy to accept the way things were. I felt like a prisoner myself, you see, and the laugh that comes from my mouth sounds so ugly. I press my hands over my lips to push them back in. So selfish. I hang my head, miserable, full of self-loathing. I'm finally able to lift my face. I meet Marco's fond, patient gaze. You are a kind person, Miss Jeriah. You know, I believe that you and Lord Jeriah might be kindred spirits. Lord Jeriah is the man who rules in Umar. He's one of them, perhaps the most important in practice, if not in name. Lord Jeriah, surely he will help me and Bahadur if we just ask. Surely. Miss Jeriah. Marco shifts in his chair, giving away his apprehension. Have you ever considered granting your genius freedom? I have given the matter some thought. Marco's eyes narrow warmly. Must be a terribly frightening prospect. Many slave owners in Umar were trembling in their boots when the new law was passed. They feared their slaves would leave them to fend for themselves, to confront them with violence, to the end to answer past injustices. And did they? Did Jin leave? I don't know, but what I know is that I wouldn't want to stay with someone who I once called master. So, could you do it? What? Would you free Bahadur, even if it meant he would leave your side? Bahadur is all I have. Without him, I am truly alone in this world. Definitely. I would free him. Look at you, no hesitation. Marco's smile is gentle. His hand reaches across the table and falls over mine. A little too familiar now, Marco. Of course, you need not be alone, Miss Jeriah. If such a thing frightens you, I would be... A knock comes at the door. My lady. A moment and the door swings open. Forgive the interruption. It is getting late. Bahadur's gaze meets Marco's, prompting my dinner guest to clear his throat and blush to rise in his cheeks. Ah, of course. Wouldn't do for a gentleman to impose upon a lady so late in an hour. He stands, taking my hand once more, and kisses it. Good night, Miss Jeriah. It's been a delight. What is this voice? Might I hope to impose upon you again tomorrow? Lunch? Well, Mistress would be delighted. Really? Well, excellent. Until tomorrow, Until tomorrow, Until tomorrow, my beautiful Miss Jeriah. As soon as Marco is gone, Bahadur and I are safely alone. I unleash my displeasure. Bahadur, I will thank you not to speak for me. Forgive me, my lady. I'm afraid I got carried away with my matchmaking. Matchmaking? Why are you trying to push me towards Marco? Marco? Something flits across Bahadur's face, too quick to catch. The truth, my lady, is that having an influential ally is not a bad idea. Senator DeLon's word will go a long way in Omar. It may help us clear your name. I don't want to use him like that. Think of how sad he'll feel once he learns the truth. That is why you have to charm him first, so that even when he finds out, he'll be so smitten it won't matter. I cannot believe I'm hearing this. So I should prostitute myself. What? No! No, this is courting the way of noble lords and ladies. Courting. Is that what the Shah did? Were he and I courting, my lady? And what of us? What happened between us? What would you call that? My lady, please. We laid together. Please. You made love to me. We lived together. At times it felt like we were wed. Didn't that mean anything? Do you really want to push me towards another man? Bahadur passes a hand over his face and shudders. His voice trembles. He takes a breath and tries again. The time we spent together at that farm, it was like a fairy tale, like a dream. Then it wasn't real. Bahadur's hand comes away from his face, and his expression shows no hint of softness or uncertainty. You are a noble lady. I am a servant. I am a slave. You are my mistress. He sighs and seems exasperated. You are no longer a child. You must learn to accept the way of things. He sighs again. The fault is mine. I fear my coddling has confused you. Child. Coddle. I am quivering. My lady, get out. It's good to get it out. Get out! He goes. The next few days would be unbearable if not for Marco, whose company, at the very least, is a way to keep the cold loneliness at bay. He's a good, kind man, but the more we spend together, the more obvious his interest becomes. One day, while we eat lunch together, on the deck, the moment I have been anxiously anticipating finally arrives. Miss Jeriah, I must confess I'm rather hopelessly taken with you. Is it foolish of me to hope that you would spend more time with me in Omar? I would so love to show you the sights. My eyes helplessly wander to Bahadur, who stands nearby, close enough to attempt not to intrude. A shadow. A perfect ballet. Miss, would you at least consider it? I'll think on it. Excuse me, Senator Dylan. Oh, of course. I rise and my head swiftly away below deck. Bahadur moves to follow. Don't bother. He stops and I descend alone. Once I reach my cabin, I look at the door behind me. Then I fall onto the bed, bury my head in the pillow in despair. I must have fallen asleep. A violent lurch wakes me as the ship creaks and groans and sways. Pounding feet passing outside in the corridor. I open the door and see a group of crewmen running by. One sailor stops when he sees me peeking from my room. Ma'am, there's a storm. Please stay in your room until it passes. Everybody has that accent for some reason. A storm? It's nothing to worry about. Please, just stay in your room. Nothing to worry about. The sweat on the man's brow and the manic look in his eyes says differently. He turns and runs, following his fellow crewmen up on deck. Worry beginning to take hold, I glance up and down the corridor. Bahadur. I don't know how I missed the noise of the storm until now. I can hear it, raging above and around me, muffled but furious. Bahadur! My fingers clutch at the hem of my dress while I continue to look anxiously. I can't just stay in my room where I don't know where he is, if he's safe. Bahadur! Running through the corridors, calling Bahadur's name yields no results. Bahadur! The ship lurches again and slams me into the wall. I keep going. He isn't in the crew quarters where he normally sleeps. Finally, I stand close at the staircase leading into the wrath of the storm. The hatch is closed. My mouth is dry with fear, but I have no choice. I swallow hard and get up. Head up. Nothing would have prepared me for this violence. The wind whips like it's alive and angry, thunder booms overhead, and the rain falls, each drop of water like a sharpened stone. Lightning flashes, and it's only in those moments that I can see the Pandinaron on the deck. Bahadur stands surrounded by sailors, helping them with the ship's rigging. I stand by the hatch, clutching the rim, watching with my heart in my throat. The ship tilts suddenly once more, and a pile of crates fall. Some of them are sent flying through the air. Bahadur! And one of them hits Bahadur in the face. He stumbles backwards, clutching his head. He slams into the side of the ship and loses his footing. Oh, he's going to fall! My voice is lost in the wind. The sailors crowd together, struggling with the rigging. No one sees Bahadur swaying dangerously close to the unforgiving drop just beyond the ship. No one except for me. I rush out into the chaos, with no concern except for Bahadur, whose blind floundering has sent him tipping over the edge, scrabbling, falling. Bahadur! I reach for his hand and pull with all of my poetry until he's safely back from the... Poultry might until he is safely back from the brink. His palms are covered in blood. Jeriah! Still grasping at him, fingers locked tight in terror, I get Bahadur at least standing steady. The lightning flashes again, and see there's blood in his hair. He blinks at me, as if he can't believe what he's seeing. My lady, what are you thinking? Get back inside at once. But you... I'm fine, now go. Not without you. Come with me, Bahadur. Bahadur shakes his head. I must stay here and... One more lurch, the biggest one yet, and it's as if the world has been thrown upside down. I'm stumbling, then I am flying. The deck is below me, then the sky, then the sea, then... I hit the water. The shock of it forces the air from my lungs. The waves swallow me, and I'm under, twisting, reaching, panicking. Oh gods, I can't swim. I never learned to swim. I kick my legs and drag myself through the swirling water, trying to find the surface. Which is way up. Which way is up? Which way is down? I flail, lungs burning, strength failing. So quiet. Under here. I can't hear storm. Can't see. Everything is black. Almost peaceful. It would be so easy to just give up. Something wraps around me. Arms. Strong arms. Suddenly I'm rising up. My head breaks the waves and the water bursts from my mouth, letting air back into my lungs. The storm continues to rage. Lady! My lady! It's Bahadur. Bahadur is holding me, keeping me afloat. Hold on, just hold on! A rope ladder unfurls down the side of the ship and Bahadur grasps it. He practically carries me up, rung by rung, as the ship continues to sway. Finally, we both fall upon the deck. I cough up more water while Bahadur lies on his back, chest heaving. Madam! A sailor, the one who must have lowered the ladder, comes running. Madam, let me... He reaches out to touch me, but Bahadur grabs his arm. Leave her. You need to... Leave her to me. Bahadur rises, then lifts me into his arms. My vision blurs and darkens, but I don't feel scared. I know Bahadur is taking me away from the storm. I know that we are safe. Consciousness comes and goes so quickly, back and forth. Eventually I am aware. I am in my cabin. I am freezing. I am naked. Bahadur doesn't seem to notice me, watching as he finishes stripping me of my clothes, then stripping himself, then sitting on the ground and pulling me into his lap. He puts his hands on my arms and starts to rub them vigorously. I feel nothing at first, but then there comes sharp burning pinpricks, and the sensation returns to my extremities. My lady, thank the gods. He pulls a blanket off the bed and draws it around us both. I'm so sorry about this. He turns his attention to my legs, coaxing feeling back into them as well. I remain silent as his hands roam all over my body, rubbing, warming. Bear with, my lady, I have to warn you. I feel a hysterical laughter bubbling up. Bear with it, he says. His gene blood really does run hot. His skin is on fire compared to mine. So warm. I lean against him, soaking the heat from his body, letting his strong heartbeat coax mine to match it. Bahadur holds me tighter, pulls me closer. I am sorry. Huh? I will protect you. He isn't speaking to me. Not really, he's just murmuring things over and over, softly into my skin. I will keep you safe. Time slips away, God knows how much, and finally the rocking of the ship calms, the noise of the storm quiets, and it seems the danger has passed. And still, Bahadur continues to whisper apologies and promises into the silence of the room. Bahadur, I think I'm warm now. Snapping out of his little trance, Bahadur meets my eyes. Are you all right? You saved me. I laugh, somehow both embarrassed and terribly happy. You saved me back. You were reckless. I had to be. You can't swim. Neither can you. I'd die. What? If something happened to you, I'd die. I'm the same, Bahadur. If something happened to you, I couldn't... I know. His hands are on my arms again, but lingering this time. His eyes are bright and gleam with something. Some hot, brilliant desire. I lean in as he does, and suddenly his mouth is over mine. I open for him, for his tongue. I turn and twist myself to straddle his lap, and he moans. I fist my hand in his hair, and he gasps and jerks away. What is it? One of Bahadur's hands leaves me to touch the back of his head. He winces. Oh, you're wounded! I am so sorry, I forgot! But Bahadur just shakes his head and brings his hand back to mine. To me, to my cheek. It will heal. But we should... His other hand cups the other side of my face, and I'm being pulled back into him. Please, just kiss me. Whimper falling from my lips, I do as he says. As we continue to affirm each other with our lips and tongues, Bahadur's hands fall to hover still on either side of my hips. His fingers flex with want, but he won't put them on me. He's waiting, letting me set the boundaries. Oh well, here we go again. Time again to narrate some steamy stuff. I push Bahadur's hands lower, and they land on my hips, hesitant at first, and grasping more firmly. His mouth covers mine. Once again, one hand finds its way back to my... I never knew how to pronounce that. Buttocks. Squeezing and guiding me closer. I gasp as his other hand falls even lower, the back of it brushing against my sex. His hand stills but does not move away. Jeriah. His eyes watch mine for any hint of reluctance. I tremble and nod. He surges forward, and suddenly I am on my back. Bahadur looms above. He kisses my mouth, then my neck, my breasts, my stomach. Lower. You are so beautiful. Lowering his head, he once again worships me with his mouth. Wait. He stills immediately and retreats. Is something wrong? Did I do something wrong? I shake my head and sit up. I push him down onto his back, and he goes without resistance. He worked too hard. I lower myself between his thighs and repay his diligence with my own, my mouth, his pleasure. You don't have to. I feel more confident this time, more determined to look after him and to show him what I can do. Finally, Bahadur can take no more. Please, Jeriah, the bed. I can't take you here on the floor. It doesn't particularly matter to me, but I humor him, letting him guide me up onto the mattress. I fall on my back and he is upon me, inside me. He surges against me, my fingers claw up his broad back, and our mouths come together once more. By the time we're sated, I am too weak to move. Whew. Well, that was something. Jeez. I think I'm getting the hang of it, though. Coffee break. Jeriah. I squeeze my closed eyes and press my face into his shoulder. I wish that Bahadur would always say my name. Just like that. I don't deserve. He trails off, swallowing, and I put my finger over his lips. Shh. Please, don't. You deserve everything. So much more than you've been given. My voice grows weak and cowardly. It drops to a whisper. And we've given you. No, that's not. He shakes his head, furrows his brow. Unable to find the words, he sighs and gives up. Pressing a kiss to his shoulder, I wrap my arms around as much of him as I can and hold fast. I know that we have a lot to talk about, but not tonight. I don't want to break whatever wonderful spell brought us here just yet. And the swift, familiar hardness creeping back into Bahadur's eyes has me afraid. Tomorrow he may be lost to me again. I burrow closer and try to savor the feeling of his arms sliding tighter around me, the warmth of his lips as he presses them against the crown of my head. Please, gods, let this night last forever. But it doesn't. The gods are bastards, just as I always expected. The morning does come, and with it returns my insufferable professional distant valet. When I wake, he is already up and dressed. Good morning, my lady. Nope. Is this some sort of joke? My lady. Do you enjoy toying with me? It is time for breakfast, my lady. I want to scream, but instead I dismiss him and get dressed. It's not surprising, it still hurts. When I can bear the stifling confinement of my room no longer, I head up into the salt air. The sky is blue and the waves calm. The only hints of last night's storm are the spots of damage here and there, being quickly patched and mended by the crew. Miss Jeriah, I'm so glad to see you looking well. I feared for you alone in the cabin while the storm wrecked the ship last night. I'm fine. I was fine. Well, good. I was wondering if you'd given any thought to my proposition. Senator DeLon. Marco, please. I'll be gentle. Marco, I have greatly enjoyed our company on this voyage. I wish you good fortune. I wish you good fortune in Omar. I will remember you fondly. Will. Marco DeLon twists downward, but when he speaks, he's full of good humor and grace as always. It's been a pleasure, Miss Jeriah. He bows with a flourish, and I nod. Then he is gone. Odd though he was, I can't say that he won't be missed at all, but this is for the best. My thoughts turn to Bahadur. As my thoughts turn to Bahadur, I find him standing further down the ship in conversation with the captain. I watch him for a while before he notices. His eyes meet mine. I go to wave, but then he flinches. For a moment his face goes slack and dark. His eyes dart away to the captain, and the mask of the perfect relay slaps back onto his face, as if it never left. I've never seen him react quite like that before. Not to me. No, not to me, but to someone else. My aunt. Suddenly, I'm a child again, watching Aunt Lamia drink wine and tell stories of one of her parties. The men is in another room, left alone. The women's conversation has grown bolder. She whispers something I am too far away to hear, and a chorus of scandalized giggles arise from her guests. Then she calls Bahadur over and puts her hand on his arms and whispers something else to her captive audience. The women look from Aunt Lamia to Bahadur to each other, and another round of giggles begin. I'm not so far away that I miss the dark, distressed look on Bahadur's face. It is only there for a moment, but I catch it. I do not yet know what it means, but I am always able to catch it. Oh. Oh no. No. Bile rising in my throat, I turn and flee back below deck. Now I'm a teenager again. And I understand a lot more than I used to. When Aunt Lamia brushes against Bahadur as she passes in the corridor, when she pinches his chin in her fingers and makes him look her in the eye, when she makes a comment in his earshot about the safe side, just the safe side of loot, emboldened by wine or my uncle's absence, Bahadur will flinch, and his face will go dark, only for an instant, and I will know what it means, but be unable to do anything. Oh gods, oh gods! I slam the door shut behind me and fall upon it, breath heaving. Am I the same? Could he not refuse me? He seemed happy. He wanted it just as badly as I did. He did want it, didn't he? Oh, was it his duty? Was he serving me the way he served her? He felt trapped, honor-bound. Then even a kiss would be, even a touch would be a violation. Somehow I make it to the bed. Curling into a ball, I clasp my knees and press my face into the blankets to muffle my moans of horror. Gods, please, no. I don't know much time has passed before there's a knock at the door. My lady, you've missed breakfast. In fact, you've missed lunch. Perhaps growing worried, Bahadur pushes his door open and steps inside. I can't look at him. I've brought you some food. I press my face further into the blankets and try for an air of normalcy. I'm sorry, Bahadur, I'm not hungry. Truly? Yes, please go. Are you unwell? Yes. If you are unwell, I think I should stay. Gah! Exasperation lifts my head, though I do not quite meet his eyes. Please, Bahadur, please just leave me. My lady, have you been crying? I rub at my sore eyes. Oh, I must look so wretched. Bahadur sighs and steps closer to the bed. My lady, I was refraining from talking about this for your sake, but if not talking about it is going to drive you into bed and make you start neglecting your health. He sighs again, but this one shudders out of him. I sneak a glance at his side to find them clenched at his side. Well, I can't let that happen. May I sit? Not absently, dreading what is to come, yet desperate for the words to be spoken, dreadful as they'll be. Bahadur perches on the edge of the bed, and I can no longer avoid meeting his eyes. You are thinking on last night? Yes. Another sigh. I cannot bear it any longer, and I must speak before I can begin to make amends. Aunt Lamia. Bahadur's eyes widen. What of her? She ordered you into her bed. Bahadur looks into his lap. Yes. You couldn't refuse. No. Don't you hate her? Don't you hate me? What? I am so sorry. I have no right to condemn her. I did exactly the same. My lady Jeriah, no! Suddenly Bahadur's hands are on my shoulders, his nose pressed against mine. Never do that. Never compare yourself to her. Never compare what the two of us shared to what she made me do. I can't say I don't regret letting myself get carried away, but that's my weakness. Because I couldn't stop myself, because I wanted you so badly. All of you. You wanted me? He rests his forehead on mine, and when he sighs, this time his breath hits my lips. Yes. As a man? Not as a slave? Yes, as a man. My relief is so potent, my hope so frenzied, that my next words come out entirely unbidden. I love you. Despite the look of terror on Bahadur's face, now that the words are out, I feel emboldened. I love you. Please. I love you, Bahadur. Jeriah, not as a slave, or as a servant, or as a bodyguard. I just love you. All of you. Please, you mustn't say such things. But, my lady, please stop. Please, no more. He rises to his feet, stumbling backwards, and I feel... Nope, we're doing this. You love me too, Bahadur. I know it. My lady. No, not as a lady. As me. You see me, Bahan, I see you. We haven't always, but we do now, I know it. And you know it too, don't you? You do not see me. If you did, you would not be saying these things. You would not love me. What do you mean? You won't tell me. Fine. So you don't love me. Thought you at least had come to respect me. I suppose I was wrong. Every little frustration and fear starts bubbling forth, and this time I don't have the power to hold them back. How troublesome this whole thing must have been for you, babysitting me all the way to Omar. Well, it was your duty, I suppose. Though I'll never... My voice cracks, but it continues. I'll never understand why you pretended to think more of me. Why you helped me like you... It's all too much. I can feel my heart break in anger, calcifying into something jagged and cruel. Hold it in. Well, it doesn't matter. I should just forget it, shouldn't I? Forget every last bit. I should never have. I wait, but as usual, Bahadur leaves his true thoughts unspoken. Go home, Bahadur. My lady. He's stricken, but I steel myself. If all that binds us is guilt and duty, then we cannot continue living like this. I do not want to hurt him any more. So I take a deep breath and summon a smile. I hope it looks convincing. When we reach Omar, I will release you from your duty. You can go home, or go anywhere else, but please just go. My lady, I know that I have offended you, I have overstepped my bounds, I've dishonored you in every way, but please... It's not supposed to be... I'm not punishing you. I'm trying to do the right thing. Finally. You should be a free man. In Omar, you will be. I can officially release you when we dock, and it will be legal. A legal, binding decree. We can have the papers drawn, and... My lady, you have given this a lot of thought. Of course, you know my head has always been full of nothing but you. But it feels like I'm finally thinking the right thoughts. Does that make sense? Not when we dock. I will see you safe first. That must be your priority. Very well, as soon as we have met with Yassir. Though still clearly unhappy, Bahadur offers no more protests. His brows draw together in contemplation. The ship's bell interrupts, ringing out our arrival. Omar, we're here already? Bahadur looks at me, expression carefully smoothed back into the usual passive gentleness. My lady? He offers his arms, and I take it, perhaps for the last time. If you notice that I hold on especially tightly as we make our way... Excuse me. Up deck, he does not say a thing. Then, he wouldn't, would he? We stand side by side, watching as Omar grows larger. With my new, firm resolution in mind, I feel stronger than I have in a long time. Solid, peaceful. That pesky old loneliness rears its ugly head once more, but I stamp down on it. I have no right to feel it. Nearly there, my lady. It will all be over soon. Yes, it will all be over soon. Once the ship has docked, we disembark. Excuse me, sir, could you help me? I hail a passerby and ask for direction to Lord Yassir's manor. The man points to the largest mansion in the city, visible from even the docks. Ah, of course. Bahadur clears his throat. Well, my lady, shall we? With that, Bahadur and I set off, through the colourful, winding streets of Omar. I should feel excited to walk through such a vibrant foreign city. I should feel afraid, watching each darkened alleyway for the sea of soldiers that could be hiding, ready to leap out and arrest me. I should feel hope, painful and sharp, to be close to safety at long last. But I feel nothing. Nothing but the most curious, lingering strain of despair. We gotta go a little further. I can't wait to see what happens. Sia may have been splendid, and Jeriah may have bustled, but Omar has an energy about it all on its own. Its color, its noise, the spirit, all these are things that not long ago I would have ached to explore. Now I keep my head pointed down and my feet moving fast. My lady, we're here. The manor is majestic, white and splendid, and surrounded by an imposing iron fence. The main gate is curiously unguarded. However, as soon as I step up to it, the front door of the mansion slams open, and out strides a Jean woman. It's her! Oh my god, I can't remember if she was in the last playthrough Rand story. I don't think she was. I'm pretty sure this is Arroyo. If I'm wrong, I'm so sorry. She's gonna be a romanceable option later. I am so excited. Oh no, I gotta give her a voice. Lady Jeriah, welcome. That was not a good voice, whatever. She knows my name. While my mind races, she swaggers closer and opens the gate. Please come in, we've been expecting. Holy hell's there! Hey there, big boy! Her eyes nearly bug out of her head as they fall on Bahadur. Wowie, how's the view from up there? While this guard, servant, jester, while she fusses and crows at Bahadur, my gaze drifts to her wrists. No bands. She's a free Jean. Everything they said about Omar is true. You said my mistress was expected? You both are. Come in. What do you mean by... Everyone has been gossiping about what happened in Sia. Come in. She brushes aside Bahadur's suspicion and urges us to follow her. As she heads for the door, Bahadur and I hesitate by the gate. We turn to each other at the same time, and I'm sure the uncertainty on his face is mirrored in my own. I admit I suspected Omar might have anticipated our arrival, but I wasn't expecting to be treated like a celebrity. It is suspicious. I don't like this. Not at all. It's not at all what I expected. I agreed, but in some ways, isn't it better? We have our audience with your Lord Jeriah, after all. In any case, we've come this far. What choice do we have now? Then let's go. I take a step, only to find myself halted by a large hand on my shoulder. My lady, I will protect you. Yes, I know. If the exterior of the manor was remarkable, the inside is breathtaking. A man awaits us in the main hall from his manner of dress and general air of importance. That must be Lord Jeriah. Jeriah, hello again. Long time no see, you big old bastard. Lady Jeriah, welcome. Thank you, my lord. Call me Jeriah, please, no need to... God's alive, you must be Bahadur. Just like the strange Jean guard before him, Jeriah seems staggered by the sight of Bahadur. I've heard you were impressive, but phew! Our reputation seems to precede us. My tone is light, but not quite polished enough to completely hide my discomfort. As soon as news reached Omar, the guild called a meeting. We thought it was likely you might seek asylum here, considering the political nature of your crime. Lady Jeriah is no criminal. Jeriah regards Bahadur with a soft sort of amusement. He doesn't seem offended. Miracle of miracles. That is not the common opinion. That Jeriah holds out his hand, and something about the gesture is so quite regal that Bahadur and I both fall into immediate silence. It is not the common opinion, but I'm very interested in hearing your version of events. Lord Jeriah, if I might. Jeriah seems to remember the man stood behind him at the same time that I notice him at all. The Heartseer? Lord Jeriah has a Heartseer? Forgive me for keeping you from your duties. You are dismissed. My lord. The Heartseer bows his head, taking a small vial from his sleeve. He deposits it in Jeriah's hand, which is quickly pocketed. Then he leaves the room, yellow robes sweeping about him. I watch him, still dumbfounded. I know what you must be thinking. My attention snaps back to Jeriah, who is smiling impishly, apparently enjoying my shock. You're thinking, how could it be that this Jeriah fellow is... Could it be that this Jeriah fellow is actually a prince, a king, an emperor? Are you? He leans in slowly and winks. No, just as rich as one. Forgive my manners, Lady Jeriah. Might I offer you some refreshments? You've had a long journey. Not after he's just pocketed a bottle of something. Bad idea. Well, Royo. Jeriah claps his hands. The Jean woman steps forward. Sir, would you mind? Not at all. One shallow bow later and she too is gone. Well, shall we? Jeriah gestures to a circle of chaise lounges and pillows, offering me a pick of where to sit. Take a few steps before realizing that Bahadur still stands unmoving. Bahadur, do not concern yourself with me, my lady. Don't be absurd, my good man. You are my guest, and a guest cannot be left standing like a lemon. Bahadur shuffles awkwardly, clearly at a loss of how to deal with this unprecedented breach of protocol from someone other than myself for once. Eventually, he relents under Jeriah's forceful politeness and seats himself cross-legged on the floor. There are plenty of seats to choose from. I'm fine here, my lord, thank you. Jeriah shoots me a helpless little smile, and the two of us are seated on the furniture, of course. Before long, a small procession of servants, both human and Jean, no slave bands, bring platters of food to sit down before us. Various exotic sliced fruits, more than 10 different cheeses, beautiful confectionery, and plenty bottles of wine. Please, friends, enjoy. I do my best to politely ignore the small feast laid out before me. It is unbearably awkward, yet no offense seems to be taken. Jeriah, for his part, wastes no time in tucking into everything. Bahadur predictably barely even looks at the food, the certain drink under his nose. He certainly doesn't touch it. Now, Lady Jeriah, I will admit to indulging in some gossip on the subject, but my curiosity is insatiable. So please, in your own words, I would love to hear your story. Of course. With a deep breath, I begin. I start with my wedding day, recount the discovery of the Shah's body and the breathless flight that followed. Jeriah listens, quiet and attentive, even when I tell him of the Heartseer's judgment, but I insist I am innocent regardless. I retrace our steps from the desert to the hills of knives onwards. I skip the farm. As soon as we stepped foot in Omar, we came straight to you, Lord Jeriah, to ask for your help. Jeriah's silence, ponderous. For a moment I fear I may have somehow overstepped my bounds and offended him. A question, if I may. You say you discovered the body of the Shah, then you fled the palace. Yes. A rather cold reaction, wasn't it? Was the man not your husband? You are a widow, Jeriah, do you not grieve? I won't pretend to be sad. I hardly knew him, and what I did know I did not care for. You wouldn't lie to me, would you, Lady Jeriah? No, I've only spoken the truth. Jeriah hums dubiously, then reaches into his sleeve and produces the vial that his Heartseer had given him. The liquid inside glows a beautiful, unsettling blue. Tell me, do you have Jesus, God, Hakma. That is 2 Q's, okay. In Sia, I shake my head, transfixed by the strange bottle. I suppose it makes sense my Heartseer jealously guards the secret to its production, even from me. The water of truth, that is its other name. Can you guess why? 3 drops of liquid and you would feel compelled to spill all of your secrets. If I asked you to drink it, would you? My eyes start helplessly to Bahadur. I have not lied yet to Jeriah, but that does not mean I have no secrets. If I had drank this Hakma, I would say everything and anything I've ever held inside. I would spill just not my secrets, but Bahadur's as well. Lord Jeriah, that's enough. In a blur, Yahudu. It is late. Bahadur is suddenly before us. He snatches the vial from Jeriah's hand and holds it against his chest. You insult my mistress. If this is a joke, it has gone too far. For a moment, Yassia's face is frighteningly blank. Then he blinks, and an easy smile bleeds through. My apologies to the both of you. It was, as you say, a joke taken too far. Bahadur's glare remains, though his shoulders drop an inch. However, Bahadur, I must warn you, take care with that vial. It functions as a... It functions as a truth serum by stripping people of their inhibitions, or their reason. While they are under its spell, a human is little more than an animal. Imagine the effect it can have on a gene. The vial is thrust back into Yassia's hand as if it burned Bahadur. Hey! He's so shaken I cannot stop from reaching out a comforting hand. He flinches from it. Forgive me, my lady, I am fine, truly. Yassia watches our interaction, eyes shocked. When the next speak, it's as if the entire previous conversation had not transpired. And you, Bahadur, what is your opinion on your mistress's wedding? A slave does not have an opinion, my lord. That sounds rather impossible. Come on, I'm asking you to speak your mind. It is not my place. I'm giving you special permission, just this once. Yassia winks, teasing. Bahadur's fists are clenched, his face turned to the floor. Surely it is a simple enough question. I can't. Bahadur's refusing to speak in his mind is nothing new, but the pain lining every crease, crease in his face, running through his body, bending it, making him shake with the weight of it, that's new. I don't know. Ugh. Like, I don't know. This one, I am very much, like, I kind of feel like I have to tell Yassia to stop, but on the other hand, like, this feels like giving him permission, which I don't want. I want him to make up his own mind, but maybe this will be taken. I'll try this one. Yassia, stop. This is torture. He doesn't want to answer. Yassia throws his head back and laughs. Gods above, the two of you are so serious. Enough, Bahadur. I yield. Another unfunny joke, I'm afraid. Hate. Hated. Bah! I hated it. Lady Jeriah in her wedding dress, that disgusting old man, 5 wives before her, all young, all dutiful, all gone, and Master Makram wanted Lady Jeriah to be the 6th, with everything he knew. I hated that day. I hated the Shah, and if his death means that Lady Jeriah is free of that wretched life, then good. It's good that he's dead. Coming back to himself, Bahadur jolts and falls silent. Well, thank you for your honesty. Royo! Yassia claps his hands and Royo enters from the hallway as if she had been there in the entire time, just waiting to be summoned. Sir, our guests are tired from their journey and no doubt thoroughly sick of my antics. Show them to their rooms, would you? Does this mean? I believe in your innocence, Lady Jeriah. Please sleep easy tonight. Royo, their rooms? I would rather stay by my mistress' side. As enlightened as Omar might be, an unmarried couple sharing a room beneath my roof is little, I'm sure you understand. Royo walks us through the twists and turns of the manor until we finally reach a guest room. This is you, Lady Jeriah. If you need anything, any member of the household is at your disposal. Come on, big boy, your room is just around the corner. Bahadur hesitates, the air between us feels charged and strange, his outburst lingering in both our minds. Will you be alright? I'll be fine. Will you? Will you? You're killing me here, lovebirds. Kiss and say goodnight already. My eyes widen, Bahadur's face turns red. Shit, really? I was just joking. Look, it's no skin off my nose what you two get up to, but I do need to get back to work, so... Sleep well, my lady. The thought of the bed is enticing. It's still early, but there's relief of finally reaching salvation. But the relief of finally reaching salvation has left me feeling drained and heavy. Bahadur looks just as bone-tired as I feel. You too. Sleep well. Bahadur smiles, Royo waves, and then they leave me. I lie back down on the bed and am asleep almost as soon as my head hits the pillow. Yeah. I feel like this is a good place to end the episode. Lots of interesting things happened. This is so good. I know I'm not commenting a lot, and I'm fucking up a lot of the reading. Not as bad as I did in the beginning, though. But it's such a good story. It's written so well, and like when the emotion finally comes out, it's just so raw. Like, I really like how simple it is, and how some of the like lines have like kind of been there before, but in the situation they fit so perfectly. Like, they're so raw, even though they're simple. They bear so much emotion that the writing brings forth. It's just really impressive. Right, I won't ramble anymore about this, but I will see you in the next part very soon, I hope. Bye!